Have you ever been judged by your appearance? Michael Carter limped into Boston's Elite Motors, wearing a faded military t-shirt and worn jeans. He wanted to buy his sister a luxury car. Instead, he got humiliation. "People like you don't belong here," the sales manager sneered. Michael left quietly, but he wasn't finished. Boston's Elite Motors gleamed under morning light. Michael Carter, 35, stood before the midnight blue Aston Martin, perfect for his sister Caroline's 40th birthday. His slight limp, a permanent reminder of an IED in Afghanistan, barely slowed him as he admired the vehicle's curves. 5 years ago, Caroline had abandoned everything to help him through 18 surgeries and crushing PTSD. Now his cybersecurity firm, Shield Force, was valued at $40 million. Success that didn't show in his faded USMC t-shirt or the worn jeans he preferred over suits. "Can I help you?" A young salesman approached. "Daniel," according to his nameplate. "I'm interested in the Aston Martin," Michael said, pointing to the $285,000 vehicle. Before Daniel could respond, Blake Thompson intercepted them. The sales manager's eyes performed a dismissive scan of Michael's attire, lingering on his limp. "I'll handle this, Daniel." Blake's smile tightened. "Sir, perhaps you're confused. This is Elite Motors. These vehicles start at $200,000. Michael maintained eye contact. "I understand. I'd like to see the Aston Martin's interior." Blake's smile vanished. "These cars are for serious buyers only. We don't do test drives for entertainment purposes." Two other salesmen snickered nearby. A well-dressed couple watched the exchange, embarrassment on their faces. "I'm prepared to make a cash purchase today," Michael stated calmly. Blake laughed. A sharp, public sound designed to humiliate. "Cash? We're talking about $250,000, not a used Honda." The showroom fell silent. Michael felt heat rising in his neck, not from embarrassment but controlled anger. He'd faced Taliban fighters. The suited bully was nothing. "I believe my money is as good as anyone else's," Michael said quietly. "Look," Blake stepped closer, voice dripping condescension. "You're wasting my time. Either make an appointment when you're appropriately prepared or please leave." Daniel shifted uncomfortably. "Sir, I'd be happy to." "That's enough, Daniel," Blake snapped. Michael looked around at judging faces, at Blake's smug expression. He'd faced discrimination before, the pitying glances at his limp, assumptions about his capabilities, but rarely so blatantly. "I understand perfectly," Michael said, dignity intact. He handed Daniel his business card, blank except for a phone number. "Thank you for your time." As he pushed through the glass doors, Michael heard Blake's voice. "Some people don't know their place." Outside, Michael pulled out his phone and called his business partner, former Marine Captain James Wilson. "James, remember that custom Bentley dealer who treated us like royalty last month? Call him. I'm buying Caroline's gift elsewhere." He paused. "And I need a favor involving my dress uniform tomorrow." James chuckled. "Someone's about to learn a lesson, aren't they?" Michael watched through the window as Blake charmed the well-dressed couple. "Yes," he said quietly. "Someone certainly is." The following morning, Blake Thompson was conducting the daily sales meeting at Elite Motors. "Remember, time is money. Qualify your customers. Don't waste hours with dreamers who can't afford our inventory." His eyes fixed on Daniel. "Some of you need to develop better judgment." A distinctive engine sound interrupted him. Heads turned toward the windows. A custom Bentley Continental GT, matte military green, with subtle Marine Corps detailing, glided to a stop directly in front of the entrance. The vehicle alone screamed wealth, but it was the military precision of an arrival that commanded attention. "Looks like money just walked in," whispered a salesman. Blake straightened his tie. "I'll handle this one." The driver's door opened. A tall figure emerged in full Marine Corps dress blues, medals gleaming across his chest. The showroom fell silent as he walked with perfect posture, his slight limp now part an aura of authority rather than weakness. Blake's welcoming smile froze as recognition dawned. The customer from yesterday, transformed. "Good morning," Michael said, voice carrying across the showroom. "I believe we have unfinished business." Blake paled. "Mr. Sir, there seems to have been a misunderstanding. Lieutenant Colonel Michael Carter, he corrected. 2 Purple Hearts, Bronze Star, retired. Each word precise as a bullet. Yesterday, I came to purchase a birthday gift for my sister. Today, I'm here to educate. Richard Mason, the dealership owner, emerged from his office. Is everything all right? Mr. Mason, Michael acknowledged. Your sales manager suggested I didn't belong in your establishment based solely on my appearance. He publicly humiliated a customer rather than showing basic respect. Mason's expression shifted from confusion to horror. I apologize profusely. I don't want apologies, Michael interrupted. I want awareness. After being wounded in Afghanistan, I built Shield 4 cybersecurity from nothing. We protect half the Fortune 500 from digital threats. My appearance reflects my values, not my bank account. The showroom remained deathly quiet. Blake looked physically ill. Daniel, Michael called. The young salesman stepped forward nervously. You treated me with respect regardless of my appearance. You'll handle my purchase if I decide to make one here. Blake found his voice. Colonel Carter, I sincerely apologize for my behavior. It was unprofessional and revealing. Michael finished. It revealed character. Not mine, yours. He turned to address everyone. I've watched fellow Marines with missing limbs be treated like they're invisible. I've seen combat veterans struggling with PTSD dismissed as broken. Yesterday wasn't about me. It's about how we judge human worth. Michael's gaze returned to Blake. You judged me by my limp and my clothes. You never asked about my story. You never considered that appearances deceive. Mason stepped forward. Colonel, what can we do to make this right? Michael considered. The Veterans Rehabilitation Center on Westfield Street helps wounded warriors rebuild their lives. They always need volunteers. His eyes locked with Blake's. 3 months every weekend. Learn about the men and women who sacrificed everything. Then you'll understand the cost of judgment. Blake swallowed hard. I'll do it. And Daniel will handle my purchase. The Aston Martin for my sister. Plus we'll discuss Shield 4's vehicle needs. We're replacing our company fleet. Mason nodded vigorously. Absolutely, Colonel. Daniel will take excellent care of you. As they moved toward the offices, Michael paused beside Blake. You know what the hardest part of recovery was? Not the surgeries. Not the pain. It was being invisible. Being judged as less than because of how I walked. How trauma changed me. Remember that when you meet the veterans. Blake nodded, humbled. I will, sir. I promise. 3 months later, Michael returned to Elite Motors. The showroom had transformed, not physically, but in atmosphere. A framed military appreciation plaque hung prominently near the entrance. Daniel, now wearing an assistant manager badge, greeted him warmly. Colonel Carter, your sister's Aston Martin is ready for delivery. Excellent. And please, it's just Michael. As they walked through the showroom, Michael noticed Blake Thompson working with an elderly couple. The change was striking. Gone was the condescension, replaced by genuine attentiveness. How's Blake doing with his volunteer work? Michael asked quietly. Daniel smiled. He hasn't missed a single weekend, even after his required time ended. He's organizing a fundraiser for the center next month. Blake noticed Michael and excused himself from his customers. The arrogance had vanished from his posture. Colonel Carter, he said, extending his hand. Good to see you again. Michael accepted the handshake. How are things at the rehabilitation center? Something shifted in Blake's expression, a depth that hadn't existed before. Life-changing. I'm working with a Marine who lost both legs. He's teaching me about resilience. He paused. I was wrong about everything, not just about you. That's the point of the lesson, Michael replied. It was never about me. Blake nodded. I understand that now. Thank you for the wake-up call. In the delivery area, Caroline's midnight blue Aston Martin waited, gleaming under spotlights. Michael ran his hand along its perfect finish. Your sister will love it, Daniel said. She deserves it. When I couldn't walk, she carried me. When I couldn't sleep, she stayed awake. Some debts can't be repaid with cars, but it's a start. As paperwork was finalized, Richard Mason approached. "Colonel, I want to thank you. Your lesson changed more than Blake. It changed our entire culture. We've implemented training on unconscious bias for all staff." Michael nodded appreciatively. That's how change happens. One person, one business at a time. Later, as Michael prepared to leave, Blake approached with a small group of staff. "We have something for you," Blake said, handing Michael an envelope. Inside was a donation certificate to the Veterans Rehabilitation Center, $50,000 from the staff's commission pool. Every salesperson contributed. Blake explained, "We want to be part of the solution." Michael was momentarily speechless. "This will fund the center's new physical therapy equipment. Thank you." As Michael drove away, he reflected on how a moment of humiliation had transformed into something powerful. Not revenge, education. Not punishment, growth. Sometimes the most important battles weren't fought on foreign soil, but in everyday moments when people chose dignity over disrespect, understanding over judgment. Have you ever been misjudged based on your appearance? Or perhaps you misjudged someone else only to discover how wrong you were. Share your story in the comments below. Remember, every person you meet is fighting battles you know nothing about. If this story touched you, hit that subscribe button for more powerful reminders of our shared humanity. Sometimes the most valuable lessons come from the most unexpected teachers.